Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Casual Friday. I'm Shawn for W, and it's good to be with you again as we inch closer and closer and closer to basketball games that actually count. But until we get to that point, we have to fill the time and we have to fill these airwaves with content for you all. And we have an exciting show for you today. But first, before we get into what we're going to discuss, let me introduce the crew. Starting to my left on the screen, which is your right, that is the man who I now call Optimus Mensa. Mensa, how are you doing? And how are the vibes?
The vibes are back. Well, not quite back, but the vibes are loading, is what I'll say. I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here for this episode of Casual Friday and just ready to, get my scathing hot takes out as usual. So without further ado, man, that's all you got for me until we get into the topic du jour, I should say.
Absolutely. And joining me, as he always does on Casual Friday, with Mensa, is the man, the myth, the data man, XJ. XJ, how are the vibes?
The vibes are incredible right now. We're almost here, guys. The season is almost here. No more dumb off-season trade ideas and narratives and terrible ranking lists. No more Jericho Sims at the 4. Well, I mean, that's not true. We might get Jericho Sims at the 4, but at least we won't be speculating about it. We'll be just talking about it and reacting to it actually happening. I can't wait to get into real games that count. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do this. Do this episode. It's going to be really exciting.
Speaking of backup 4s, I'm gonna pour a little out for Isaiah Roby. There you go. Because he was the backup power forward in July. Oh man, those are the days. July. And finally, last and certainly not least, we are glad to have him back joining us again to argue with us. Maybe yell, scream, point fingers, make accusations, but walk away in love because we love him so much. GMAC, Andrew Claudio. Andrew, how are the vibes?
Shawn, Mensa XJ, the vibes are spectacular. The vibes have missed you guys. The vibes are looking forward to another episode where we draft something and hopefully I win. The vibes are even more looking forward to the scuttlebutt on Twitter that will be led by XJ.
Great word, by the way.
He won the draft, even though we don't know if he won the draft yet or not. So thankfully, this one we'll be able to know because we'll actually have, as XJ said before the pod, there'll be a winner by the end of this draft because the numbers will have totaled up. Nothing subjective will be part of it at all.
No, I'm going to argue so hard about the fact that I won that we will just forget about the results at the end of the season. People are just going to be like, yeah, XJ won, right? Because he seemed to be pretty confident.
At this point, we're just going to put your hands in a freezer because the rumor has it you have a hot hand theory that you want to get off your chest. And we're just, you're going to make that clear to us as your arguments on Twitter.
Oh, it's going to be made clear for sure. I appreciate it. That's an elite reference, at least for me. So it's going to be made clear. I'm ready to do it.
That was part of this is the 3 best things that happened to me this summer was I got married, I went on my honeymoon, and I watched you fight the good fight with literally every single person that had an opinion about our what was it, the 25 to 29 draft?
It was. Yeah. I love being in the corner. I love being with my back against the wall and fighting my way out of the corner. It's like, that's what I'm about. I know I don't seem like this guy's a data guy, but I love fighting my way out the corner. So I'm down to do it anytime. It's probably going to happen after this draft. So let's go.
I don't know why you're saying probably. It's going to happen after this.
Probably. All righty.
All right. So as Andrew alluded to just now, we will be drafting. But before we get to the draft, I like to say, for me, the vibes are festive. The vibes are festive because it feels like a party. Almost like a pool party, because somehow Jordan Poole, there must have been baddies courtside yesterday because the shots were going up yesterday. I was at the game and I'm like, this dude has 41 points in with 10 minutes left in 3 quarters. I don't think he played the fourth quarter. I think he may have played a few minutes. So those are the vibes. The vibes are festive because Jordan Poole was trying to break a preseason record and whatever. All right, we're drafting. And with this time, we are bringing back the P.R.A. draft, points, rebounds, and assists. But this time, we're doing it for the entire season, and we're doing it at the beginning of the season because we'll keep track of it, and then whoever wins. And there's no debate, there's no discussion, there's no arguments to be made. The numbers don't lie. Whoever has the most wins. Period. So, in order to determine the order, we will use the tried and true method of a deck of cards. And I've made sure that this is a regular deck of cards. It's not for spades. So if you know, you know. I guess the youngest person gets to pick first, which I believe is XJ. XJ before we went on the air.
I don't think it's XJ.
Wait a minute, it's not XJ. It is Mensa. That's right.
Mensa, yeah.
Okay, that's why. So that's why XJ never gets the first pick because
that's why
Mensa always goes first.
So I assume that means you're last, Shawn. Yeah, I think
I'm always last, and I never get the first pick. All right.
I appreciate that we were listening to you shuffle, Shawn, because that makes me feel better about what's about to happen.
I actually,
of course,
I as someone who usually is in your spot, I appreciate the emphasis on making sure people heard you shuffle.
Oh, that's actually fake noise. I like to cheat my friends all the time.
Oh, well.
All right. Mensa, your card is
King. He's gonna get the one. He's gonna get the one pick again.
You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me with this, man. This is.
I love it.
Listen, for the listening audience, Mensa with a king of clubs. Every time I've done a draft so far, I have no shot to get the first pick, and Mensa always gets the first pick.
That's the funnier part. Is almost every draft I've done so far, Mensa's gotten the first pick. That's the craziest part about this.
It's ridiculous.
Oh man!
All right.
So that means XJ's next.
Is XJ. I will shuffle.
Great.
5 times as I did the last time to be consistent. Because 5 is a great number. I'll explain why later.
Bonus ASMR shuffling into the mic. It's nice.
XJ's card is
an ace of hearts.
Oh, wow. And XJ gets the one. No, he got a jack of hearts, Mensa.
Jack of hearts. For the pod audience,
carry on.
Mensa was not looking and snapped his head over to the camera. So
wait, what? Like Mensa's already working on his first pick, who he wants. Yeah.
All right. Next is the general manager. I will shuffle 5 times. 3, 4.
Outstanding radio, Shawn.
It's outstanding radio. I was actually trying to figure out a way to filibuster. Your card is 4 of diamonds.
Okay, I guess I get the turn then. Great.
I'd rather have the turn than the second pick.
The back-to-back picks is great. That wait from my second until my third pick is not, though. So
all I know is I'm going to get either an ace or a 2 and no in between.
Oh, so I'm getting a mid pick then. Okay, great.
I know myself, and I'm going to get either the first pick or the last pick.
No half measures, Shawn.
Absolutely no half measures. I'm actually cheating right now. So
Breaking Bad, Mensa?
Yes.
Hell yeah. Oh man.
And my card is what did I do?
As predicted.
What did
2 of diamonds.
2 of diamonds for Shawn. So all right, we go.
I gotta ask a question here before so maybe this is breaking KFS tradition here. But should it not be that the order that's determined is you get to choose what slot you pick as opposed to it forces you to pick in a specific slot? Is that not the case? Like the second highest card should be able to be like, I want to choose the turn as opposed to the second pick.
So this is, like you said, breaking tradition in that we've only ever decided the order like ping pong balls, right?
That's fine. I don't want to break tradition.
Democracy rules. here at KFS.
This is Casual Friday, I gotta say.
So then I will leave it to the voting population here. And so if we can get to a majority and get 3-1, that will switch to that, where the high card order is you get to choose your pick, then we'll do that. So Mensa and Shawn, do you want to switch to that?
Okay, Mitch McConnell, you want to change the rules? Jesus. Listen, it's up to Mensa. It is up to you.
So he abstains.
Mensa with the first vote gets to decide what happens to the peasants behind him.
This has nothing to do with me. Well, I guess draft strategy speaking, XJ, you would have the 2 pick, right, in this draft?
Yeah, I would, by the cards, I would have the 2 pick. If I chose, I would pick the 4th.
You would pick you would pick the swing pick, which would make you more formidable an opponent. And I don't want you to be a more formidable opponent. So I'm going to vote with the conservatives and keep it as it is.
Oh, God.
Gonna vote with the. All right,
that sentence out of context has
I'm clipping that and I'm dropping that completely out of context. So.
All throughout to the year 2024, Mensa. That clip's gonna show up from XJ's account. Which is going to be funny because it's like a guy with red coloring in his logo, and it's be like, I'm voting with the conservatives. I wonder what that means. All right, let's draft.
All right, let's rock. Okay, so again, so we will be drafting 7 players, a center, 2 forward, and 2 bench spots. Andrew, do you have to fill your starting lineup before you draft bench players? I believe
no. So the rule we followed is you have to draft at least 3 starters before you draft a bench player. So you can't draft like 3 guards to start. You have to fill 3 different positions, or not 3 different, at least 2 different positions before you go to your bench. The way we are deciding what players qualify for each position is the positional estimate on Bleacher Report for their most recent season. So this only applies to a couple players. That could be forwards, could be centers, but their most recent season. And then as we said at the top, it's a very simple formula. The most total points, rebounds, and assists, which I'll just throw this question at you guys before we get started. Like the availability that has not really existed over the past couple of years. Do we think that this new 65 game rule and this mid-season tournament and this emphasis on the regular season mattering more, do we think that's going to change the way the availability numbers look this year? And more specifically, like how much we're going to draft and how our strategies work? Well, I'm going to take someone that I normally wouldn't take in a draft like this because I think they're actually going to want to play this year. Mensa, what do you think?
So I'm thinking of the Clippers specifically, and I can only imagine Adam Silver trying to tell Kawhi Leonard what to do, and he's just looking back at him with a deadpan. So I don't think that this is going to change too much for maybe a guy like LeBron might play a lot of games. But like to me, like this rule it's like the anti-Clippers rule. And I don't think the Clippers are going to care one way or the other. So I'm probably going to say no, it's not going to change too much, at least not in the first year.
Anybody else?
I mean, I think it's going to change how much people sit out early in the season. Towards the end of the season, I think they'll manage it a lot more similarly to how they have in the past. But like, for instance, Giannis played 63 games last year. He probably could have played 65 if they really wanted him to. So I think it'll affect things on the margins, but it's not like, you know, a guy's going to go from 55 games to 65 games. I don't think that's going to happen.
All righty. And then Shawn?
I don't think it's going to, I think if a team, because one, I will say this, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing people that load management wasn't a team decision. It's literally like one player who decides whether he wants to play or not. And then by proxy, his running mate is like, oh, I get to take PTO. Great. But it's an organizational decision, and organizations will find ways. If they want to rest their guys, they will find ways to rest their guys. Flu-like symptoms, non-COVID illness, I tweaked something, rehab, whatever. So I don't think it's going to change it. And it won't affect how I dress.
Or what is Harden saying? Personal matter?
Broken heart.
Yeah.
Waiting for my contract to get signed. If you ever quickly.
Nicked up, as one Tom Thibodeau said. All right, cool. Well, I think we're ready. So Mensa, with the most obvious first pick of all time, you select.
Can I tell you? It wasn't definitely not me. It wasn't as obvious as I expected it to be, just because the second guy that I'm looking at here, his team is going to need him to rebound a whole lot more. But I'm going to go with the obvious pick here, and I'm going to go take Nikola Jokic, the Serbian phenom who plays water polo while everybody else is playing basketball.
It's so fascinating that this is our best player in the world right now. It really is. And it's not even from the sense of, like, I don't mean that in a diminishing way, but I think you guys who have followed American sports for as long as I have can appreciate that we've been marketed from the time we were kids and started following sports that, like, the journey and the grind is worth it. Like, there's a whole identity of people with the number 24 or 8 in their Twitter avatars that identify with Kobe Bryant, and like what Michael Jordan told us, that like winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Like, he was basically Vince Lombardi. And like we saw when LeBron finally won one for Cleveland, and when KG won with the Celtics, and Steph even winning one by himself against the Celtics a couple years ago, the passion and the emotion that showed up after they finally won their first title, and how much it meant to them, and the journey and the struggle. And Jokic was like, all right, work over. We go home and look at horses. And the guy cannot be bothered with this job. It's like, yeah, I have a job.
Be bothered.
I get paid good money. I go play ball. We win. I go home. And that's like, it doesn't compute with the way that we're normally used to the aggressive.
He was so disappointed with the parade. He was like, what is next week?
What? I have parade. I go home next week. I just, like, he cannot be, like, this is a job to him. This is every job we've ever had where it's like, I go, I punch in, I dominate, I go home. Like, I can't get over it. It's so fascinating.
None of us dominate our jobs the way that Jokic, with the exception of maybe you, GMAC. Maybe you.
Nah, man. I think we've all had good days at work. We've just all never had the same good day as him. And we've also never like left that good day being like, all right, day over. You know?
I will say for me, just real quick, I love it. Like, I am so happy that a person like this exists and is the best player in the world and the most dominant and most valuable player in the world. I love that it completely breaks the stereotype and the paradigm that we have of what it takes to become the greatest at a specific thing like basketball or any other professional sport. So I like that it exists. I love when there's somebody who breaks the mold, and it's one of the reasons I love Jokic, besides him just clearly being the best player in the world.
I just want to say, I didn't know this was we were talking about Nikola Jokic or Teddy KGB from Rounders when I listened to GMAC's accent.
Give that man his money.
Position bet, I golf. Yes. All right, XJ,
pay him his money. All right, go ahead, XJ.
I'm up, and actually, the joke is on all of you, because if I had the number one pick, I wouldn't have taken Jokic. I would have taken this guy. I would have taken this guy that I'm about to take, who is one of the best players in the world, one of the most underrated players in the world. He is going to lead the league in P.R.A. He's better be at the top of all your lists, but he's probably not. The great
Lauri Markkanen.
I was waiting for it.
Lauri Markkanen.
Wait, is this real?
No,
Yo, he's really
Okay.
This is not real. This is not real.
Okay.
This is not real.
No
But
Okay.
I'm mad at Sean for ruining the joke.
Oh, damn it. In fairness, XJ, like that's not the joke. That's brand right there.
It is brand.
Yeah.
You did it to yourself.
It is on brand. No, I'm taking Jason Tatum. I'm taking Jason Tatum, who Jason Tatum played 74 games last year. Led the league in points last year. Very reliable to play a lot of games. Still very young. Second in the league in P.R.A. last year.
Yeah,
it was really
170 behind.
He was just behind Jokic, and I think he's going to probably play even more games this year, honestly. So I love that I got Tatum here. I think it wasn't really a tough choice for me between him and some of the other people. The other guys I know are going to miss games. And what we learned in terms of P.R.A., it's total P.R.A. It's not average P.R.A. So, we need guys who are going to play games, and Tatum's going to play a ton of games and score a ton of points. So I got Jason Tatum.
Yeah, that was the other guy for me because of the same thing. Jason Tatum is going to play 70 plus, like guaranteed. And then the other thing with him is he doesn't have a center anymore, at least not a traditional center. So he's already a guy who gets a lot of rebounds. There's a good chance Jason Tatum averages a double-double. I like that pick. That would have been, if I had the second pick, I would have picked him. And it was, for me, a tough decision to either go with Jokic, because who knows, he might play 63 games and Jason Tatum might play 75, and that'll be the deciding factor right there with who leads P.R.A. But I do think they're going to be 1 and 2 this year.
So that makes my pick a little difficult, but I think I'm going to go in a direction that is defensible. There's an injury scare here that I'm going to acknowledge that it falls in line with your theory about him, Mensa, but I think he'll be healthy enough that the positional value is just, it matters a ton here. So I'll take Joel Embiid, who finished 3rd in points, rebounds, and assists. I recognize that he won his MVP. We're not arguing on this pod whether he should have won it or not. The fact is he got it. He got the hardware. The trophy's in his house. He's not going to go as all out in the regular season as he used to, I don't think. I do question whether he can play 65 games. I wonder what those minutes will look like during the season. I also just flat out wonder what a team is this going to be like 2 years ago when, because James Harden is just now Ben Simmons, if more opportunity for Embiid to score and to get more points, rebounds, and assists will exist. So noting all the caveats, there's just flat out not a lot of centers to choose from. So I'll take Joel Embiid, who finished 3rd in points, rebounds, and assists last year.
So what's interesting is the man who has averaged the highest P.R.A. over the last 3 seasons is sitting there for me to draft. And I'm actually shocked that he's there. So I will waste no time. I'm basically the dude at the draft that's like, oh my God, I'm running to give Roger Goodell the card right now. Like, I will take Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh.
I think that
again has the he's the highest average P.R.A. the last 3 seasons. And here he is. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh, well, Dame is there. Well, remember we spoke about earlier. I think we actually kind of touched on it in the previous show. I don't think that Damian Lillard gives a rat's you know what about 65 games because he has bigger fish to fry, and that fish is in the playoffs. So I don't feel like, oh, now Giannis is going to be scoring 19 a game. So I feel pretty confident with Giannis as my first pick. I'm
going to say nothing because I'm not on. There may be a guy I want you to now pass on to get back to me. I like the pick. Like, it's Giannis, so I can't say bad pick. I thought you're going a different direction with that. So back to you, Sean, where you go with your next pick.
Okay, I'm not going to overthink this. I'm going to take Luka and call it a day. And the guy that I want, I hope he will make it back to me. But if he doesn't, I have a backup plan.
And that's why I wanted the turn, because I figured this is exactly the way that it would go. It would go Giannis, Luka at the turn, the two highest average P.R.A. guys last season. That is the advantage of having two picks back to back so high. So,
and I also
that's why.
Go ahead, Shawn. Go ahead.
That's
Shawn.
why Mitch McConnell tried to change the rules before we started.
Also, Mitch McConnell doesn't want that.
I have. So, did you sort by per minute, Shawn, and that's how you got Giannis as the leader? Because I have per game as Luka being the highest point, rebounds, and assist average.
The last 3 seasons combined.
Oh, that's what you did there. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear. Okay. Yeah, I was hoping you'd pass on whoever this is you want to get back to you to take them. Oh, I was hoping you would take them so I could get Luka, but beggars can't be choosers. Okay. We're doing totals. So it gets interesting here because there was a very clear top 5 in my opinion, and now you're hoping for some availability to up the totals for the upcoming season.
I dare you, GMAC.
I don't think I'm doing it, but I'm staring at it. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm sure people can understand. This is a Knicks podcast, and there is some consideration to taking the Knicks that finished 4th in total points, rebounds, and assists last year. I'm not going to do it because I want to get a guard, and the guard I want to get, I think he's actually going to play games this year because his team is no longer trying to lose anymore. I'm so high on this player and his abilities. The defensive side of the ball doesn't matter to this draft, but I think that's what's going to separate him from his peers as he enters further into his prime. I'll take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with my next pick. The guy finished 15th in total points, rebounds, and assists last year, and that's with an emphasis from his all-knowing president of basketball operations that he needs to miss like 15 games just cause. So thinking that he can play 75, I'll go at SGA.
Great pick. I was hoping that you would pass on SGA to get to me. So yeah, I agree. I think he's going to play a ton of games. They're not tanking anymore. They're looking to make some noise. So I think he is going to not only play more games, but also be better than he was last year. So I could easily see SGA being a top 3-4 guy in total P.R.A. So I think it's a great pick.
Wow, how crazy it is that we're saying he could be better. He averaged 30 a game last year. Like he can be better.
He has room to get better. Yeah.
Insane. All right, XJ, you're up.
On me. Yep. So that would have been my pick. I think it's an incredible pick. There is a guy that I have my eye on. It's a little risky because he's getting up there in age, but and it's pretty easy to fall asleep on this guy because I think he was around 15 or 16th in total P.R.A. last year. So it's like, yeah, you wouldn't think he's so high on the list, but he missed a bunch of games, 26 games to be exact. And to be 16th on this list after missing 26 games is absolutely incredible. I think he's going to play a lot more games. I think he'll get to the 65 mark. And this guy at 65 games could easily be top 5 in P.R.A. I am taking Steph Curry.
Good pick. Great pick. I love the pick because it let me.
You're going in a different direction, but that's a good pick.
I'm good.
Also on brand. Like it's not a bad brand to have. I took Steph Curry, but I'll say it was those two that I was thinking of, SGA or Steph.
I would have taken SGA over Steph, but it left me with Steph, so I got to go with him.
If there's an 80 game season in Steph still, he has a chance to win this, like be the leader of this because of the 3-point volume.
Absolutely. If he played 80 games, absolutely. Yeah.
Mensa, it allows you to do what?
To take what the New York Knicks fan base wanted somebody to do. And I'm going to take Julius Randle because Julius Randle plays a lot of games. He was 4th on this list last year. He is undervalued in this draft. He is undervalued in general, and I am so happy that he fell to me. I was not going to pass on Julius Randle with my second pick. This is a guy that when it comes to, this is not a popularity draft. This is not a bag Twitter draft. This is not a tween cross draft. This is who is going to compile stats. And Julius Randle is going to compile stats like nobody's business. Now, for my second pick in this draft, well, my second pick on the turn is a guy that I personally believe was anointed way too fast. Me and Shawn are in lockstep on this. But he's going to play a lot of games. He was 13th on this list last year, and everybody and their mother has been waiting for this kid to take the leap that he has not yet taken, people. He has not taken this leap yet, but he does play a lot of games, does play a lot of minutes, and does put a lot of numbers together. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards.
Wow. Very interesting. Very interesting strategy. I like the Edwards pick, and obviously the Randle pick, you justified it perfectly. I mean, the Randle and Tibbs combo is elite for this competition.
There you go.
That is an elite combination for this competition. So
got my workhorses early.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed when Mensa is able to work his take into his pick. You know?
Oh yeah. Like, you know me.
Like if you did take Embiid, it would be like, I think his knees are something that's not worth gambling on, and the Knicks should avoid him like the plague. And welcome to my team, Joel Embiid. Like,
come on down.
The way you're able to work, it's so impressive every time. All right, XJ, you're up.
I'm up. I'm back. I just picked an old guy, so I don't want to do that because I'm not going to bank on health. But what I would bank on is not taking an old guy, but taking a young guy, a Trae Young guy to be exact. So yeah, I am taking Trae Young. Trae Young completely underperformed last year. Had one of his worst seasons of his entire career. Still found a way to be top 10 on this list in a terrible Trae Young season. He is going to bounce back. I'm not going to be happy about it, but he is going to bounce back. He's going to shoot a lot better from three. The assist numbers are going to come up because they're going to realize he can't play off the ball. Just forget about that. Let DeJounte play off and roam. Trae is going to have the ball in his hands a ton. I think he's going to go completely nuts. I love this. Is an incredible value pick for me at this stage of the game. So I'm going Trae Young.
It would have been my pick if you didn't take him. So interesting how this draft is playing out.
I would,
okay.
Yeah, if you didn't take him, I would have. So.
Yeah, like we were headed that direction, I think. Again, this is not a popularity contest, so it's funny. There are several people in the P.R.A. rankings that I'm so curious how this season plays out, and the emphasis on like the question I asked you guys. Like, I would have hesitated to take player X in the past, but because they're emphasizing actually playing basketball this year, are they going to? Can I count on them differently? There's also some guys coming back from injury that I would point to and say, like, I think you will just take the regular season a little more cautiously than you would in the past. But instead, this year, you have a tournament that you have to play that you might have to consider. Which is why I'm going to take someone that... this is the first time this draft that we're taking a second player on a team, but I think he's going to do some heavy lifting on his roster, specifically in the getting of points and getting of rebounds and getting of assists. I'll take Jaylen Brown with my next pick. There is a dependability in games played that I'm going to with him that with the other options that I'm staring at, I don't have them as guaranteed. There's an age factor or injury factor involved. I will take Jaylen Brown with my next pick.
I just want to say really quick, Jaylen Brown, the last few seasons, 67 games, 66 games, 58 games, 57 games. I mean, I'm not sure that he is the workhorse that he seems like he is. I feel like I have the same feeling, but I don't know. As far as games played, he seems to be spotty. And then with his big contract, I'd be shocked if they don't want to preserve their investment.
So let's be clear about those 4 seasons that you're pointing to. One season was shortened to 72 games because of a pandemic. Other season was shortened around 70 games because of a pandemic.
Right.
The other 2 were 82 game seasons. So we're talking like 13 to 16 games missed. I'm grading that on a load management curve that he probably could have played 5 or 6 more.
That's fair.
I'm factoring in there's a clear 70 to 75 games in him. So that's where I'm looking at it from the dependability. Whereas someone that might be 6 or 7 years older that in the past I would like, exactly who I'm talking about, but he may end up back to me depending on how Shawn drafts. There's literally 3 guys I would have above him that I'm not sure are going to play 60 games, regardless of whether they did this emphasis that the NBA is doing. But we'll see how Shawn drafts. So, Shawn, you're up.
So it's funny you say that about, there are a couple of guys above Jaylen Brown, but you're concerned about games played. On my board right now, there are 3 names that are just like saying like, hey, if you do best player available, you should take them. But one guy is 34 years old. One guy was drafted during the George W. Bush administration.
I'm gonna think of the exact same guys, Shawn.
and the third guy was born December 30th, 1984. So
also drafted during the Bush administration.
I thought those were the same people. Yeah,
the first term.
Yeah, the first term. That's actually very true.
Yes. So because again, availability matters. I'm going to pass all those guys, and I'm going to take, going down the list, a guy who I was ridiculed for not taking in a previous draft, but I will not make that mistake twice. And that player is number 1 for the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker.
Great. Curious if you double up on Suns here. This is your
yes.
the Bush administration pick,
Yes. I will not. So I will not double up on Suns here, because if I do a little bit of math, the player that you're referring to has not played more than 55 games since 2019.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
I think for a full season, I was saying this to John during the over-unders preview. Like, I'm at the point where I don't think he has more than 50 games in him in a season.
Yeah,
he has regular season. He has playoff fish to fry. He does not have regular season expectations. So
it's incredible that this player may not go in this draft. I just want to say that.
The thought was there. He's very low on my list. The other guy from the Bush administration that I love how that's how we're characterizing arguably the second greatest player ever. That guy, it is a question of health, and the fact that he's going to be 40 next year. But I'm curious to see where he goes. We're all talking about Kevin Durant. I'm curious if he ends up going in this draft. So
yeah, especially they're going to rely on him to rebound, to play a lot of center, get blocks. Like I just don't see it. So the player I'm going with here. So I want to take this player earlier, but I thought it was being cute. But I was like, he should get back to me. And I'm taking him now because I need a center, and there are 2 centers to take. And one of them, you want to talk about load management. like that dude falls, so you think like I may never see him again. So I'm going to go with the other center on my board this high, and that is Domantas Sabonis of your Sacramento Kings. Light the damn beam. And for those who are listening to the podcast, the look on XJ's face let me know that I took his player, and I'm going to pat myself on the back for it.
I will say, Shawn, if I was allowed to take a second center, I was going to take Sabonis, like to put him on my bench. I was going to go with my first bench pick, be Sabonis. So this is a great pick. And actually, if that's reassuring, they wouldn't have gotten back to you anyway if Shawn had taken someone else.
Yeah.
You know, fifth in total points, rebounds, and assists last year, Domantas Sabonis. And if you keep your track at home, the top 6 have been taken. 8 of the top 9 have been taken. That's where we are at this point.
And I actually thought XJ was going to take Sabonis with his Trae Young pick, because I thought Sabonis
would make it back to me. I knew Trae Young wouldn't make it back. There was no chance Trae Young made it all the way around, but Sabonis might have.
This is a Knicks podcast.
This is a Knicks podcast, which Knicks fans, I'm glad that there's no popularity contest here that I have to worry about when, like, who will win this draft or who won this draft, because I'll just let the numbers do the talking, because I'm going down to South Beach and taking my talents down there, and I'm going to take one Bam Adebayo as my backup center. So I'm taking a second center off the board. Bam Adebayo last year, 7th in total points, rebounds, and assists, just below Luka, just above Giannis from last season. So Bam Adebayo will be my next pick.
Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick at all. Very high on this list. He's probably the only Miami Heat member who is young, good at basketball, and will play a lot of games and get a lot of rebounds. Not a bad pick at all. I just don't feel comfortable picking the Heat because anybody on that team, just because they don't take the regular season seriously. Like, as an organization, that's just not what they do. But Bam has been good, and he's young, so I expect him to be in the top 10 of this list once again, especially because they don't really have a point guard. He'll be passing the ball, but I just don't like the Heat.
Think about what you just said. I don't like the Heat either. Don't get me wrong. We stand in solidarity there. But think about what you just said. They don't take the regular season seriously. And he still was 7th in points, rebounds, and assists last year.
Good point.
Like, they were unserious last season. And like the other guy was 11th in points, rebounds, and assists. So they still compile, even if they're not going all out like they did post Giannis injury and playoff run, you know? So
yeah, definitely.
XJ, you're up.
This has put me in an awful precarious position. I'm not happy about this at all.
I'm waiting for you to take your guy, by the way.
There's a couple guys that are my guy. All
okay.
Right? I'll say that.
But one in particular.
There's one that led to the fighting of the good fight this summer.
That guy's not going to be taken right now. I'm just going to say this has killed my draft strategy. Having the two centers, I was like, I'll get one of them, and I got neither of them. So this has made me rogue. I'm going off the board. I'm going crazy now because
Mitchell Robinson.
Oh, I know where he's going, and I actually think it's a good pick. I know where you're going.
I don't think so, GMAC. I don't think so. We can go to our bench now, right?
You can.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know where you're going.
You don't know where I'm going. I'm not forcing a center pick right now. I think I know who you think I was thinking of, but I'm going to try this. This could completely blow up in my face, but George W. Bush. I'm gonna say, I think this player wants to break all kinds of longevity records. I think that this player is a physical specimen like we've never seen before. And I think he has continued to defy the odds. And I think he will continue to defy the odds. I am taking, in his 21st season,
yes,
LeBron James.
This isn't your bench pick. This is your other forward pick, right?
You know what? Yes, I only had one forward, so
LeBron James.
Didn't have to worry about it. LeBron James.
December 30th, 1984.
Mm-hmm. I'll be turning 30 this year. Yeah.
I was looking at him. I was looking at him too, actually.
I want to say LeBron James was top 10 in this list, and played 55 games last season.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous what he does.
He played 55 games last season.
He's 50 PRAs walking, just like wakes up out of bed, 50 PRAs, no problem.
I just
50 PRAs at age 39.
He's crazy.
Yeah. I get the pushback that comes from people that are older than that are my and Sean's age or closer to my and Sean's age, because we saw what Michael Jordan was, right? Like the kind of comparisons are insane when you actually got to experience that in real time. But also, like I've always said, if LeBron gets one more chip and then makes another finals after that, and you're talking about like maybe he's not going to meet 6 for 6 in the finals, but it's like 5 titles, 12 final strips, 26 seasons. It's like, okay, at a certain point, like a 26-year prime is kind of crazy. So yeah, it's actually unreal what LeBron has done. All righty, Mensa, you got 2 picks.
Agreed. Okay, so there's one.
Sean, what you got? Hold on, Sean, what you got?
Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say, if LeBron James goes from the George W. Bush administration to the Kamala Harris administration, this is going to be absolutely amazing. Year 26. Jesus.
Man. So this pick here is a little difficult for me because I want to grab a guard, but this is a guard that I don't actually believe in. So it's hard for me to... It's hard for me
already
to stay
working
on
it. Here's my take. Here's my pick. I love it, Mensa.
No, it's like I have to pick a team. I have to pick a team that I believe in, and my agendas are what I believe in. So
you do.
Okay, so we're gonna go
cracking the armor. Mensa's normally very confident about his picks.
I am gonna go off the board here. This is not a team that I expect. I'm picking a guy on a team that I don't expect to be good. But this is a basketball player who religiously leads the league in minutes, or is one of the 5 foremost minute leaders. And we saw him last year when he was traded to the team I am talking about, completely take the top off of his ceiling and just evolve into a guy who looks like he could be one of the 2 best players on the championship team, as opposed to maybe the 4th or 5th most important player on your team. And I'm going to take the forward in Brooklyn by the name of Mikal Bridges, one of the Villanova bros that is not on the New York Knicks, that a lot of Knicks fans want to see on the Knicks, but that won't happen because he plays for the Nets. But yeah, this kid, I mean, what he did last year as a Brooklyn Net, truly impressive stuff. And I do expect it to carry over. He averaged 26 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 2.7 assists. So that's about what? That's about 33, 34. Well, about 32, 33 PRAs, but I'll take it because I think he's going to play all 82. If he doesn't play all 82, he'll play 79, bare minimum 75 games. And this is a guy that I think my strategy is I want to fill my team out with guys that are pretty good bets to play at least 70. And I think I've done that so far. Maybe not with Jokic, because he might decide, I want to go back to Serbia and pat my horses for a month. But yeah, I'm quite comfortable with that pick. And I'm going to stick around the same age group, and I'm going to go with the starting point guard on the league's most explosive offense of all time as of yesterday, which is subject to change because it changes every single year. I'm going to go and take De'Aaron Fox to round out my starting 5.
Solid picks, man.
I was hoping I might be able to get him Fox late. And I just want to say that you know the Robert Redford meme, the guy in the barrel, he's just like smiling, just the little like nod. Mm-hmm. That's what Busy was doing when Mensa took Mikal Bridges.
Shout out Busy, one of my longtime Patriots. Yes.
But he's been in my DM. He was in my DMs after the Kyrie and KD trades, and I was just like, see, look at this guy, see, and I'm like, Busy, they're 12 and 15.
Yeah,
but you know what? This is not a record. This is not about record. This is about putting up numbers. And on that team, it's gonna put up numbers.
All right, XJ, you're up.
I've been thinking. I've been over here just quietly thinking. How how much risk do I want to have? I already have kind of loaded up my team with risk. And I'm almost like, at this point, I should just go for broke. I'm taking a lot of risk anyway. I tried to start out solid with Jason Tatum, and then I just went to a bunch of risky guys after that. I have two guys that both either would come off my bench. Two guards that I have in mind, both very unreliable, both for different reasons. But I think I'm going to go with one of them. And I think this is the part where you all shake your heads and say this is insane. I think I'm going to go with a guy when he's on the court is top 5 in P.R.A. average. Can he stay healthy? Is he going to get to 65 games? Is his new partner in crime going to help him get to even higher heights in terms of scoring? I am going with the oft unhealthy Damian Lillard.
Dame. It's Dame time.
Dame time averaged over 44 P.R.A. And played only 58 games. I think he's going to play more. I think he'll get to 65. If he gets to 65, we're talking about a top 15 P.R.A. guy. So I think it's a value pick for me at this point.
Listen, if you listen to the people out of Portland, this is a guy that would have played 70 games, 65 games had they not pivoted to go as close to the lottery or best lottery odds as possible. So yeah, I don't hate it, especially since I think the Bucks are going to be good this year. So, okay.
I think that's I think pivoting is a very nice word of a way of calling it a freaking all out tank.
Yeah,
tank job. But that was nice of you. That's why you're the GM.
When a team goes full tank, we should just call it the Portland pivot. That's the Portland
alliteration.
You got the Texas two-step and the Portland pivot.
The Portland pivot is when a team pulls the plug completely. Oh, now we're fully alliterating. It would just completely decide to tank their season.
The Portland pivot plug pullers.
Yes. I smell it.
The pivoting plug pullers of Portland in the Pacific Northwest.
We sound like the beginning of Anchorman getting all of our verbal exercises out the way. The arsonist has oddly shaped feet. Okay. I'm taking Anthony Davis with my next pick.
You have Anthony Davis as a forward. However,
that's right. He played most of his minutes at center last year.
He did not play most of his minutes at center. He played every single minute at center last.
So then let's back this up. Am I allowed to take a third center? If not, I have a backup plan ready to go.
Bro, if you want to take 3 centers, it's your world.
I'm not just taking any random centers. Anthony Davis is 14th in points, rebounds, and assists. But if you would like me to take a different, I'm also about to ask if we want to take another player, but I think we're going to run out of time because I don't want us to be here for 2 hours. But if you guys want me to take a different position, because we've had the rule in the past that your bench has to be 2 different positions, we can.
Well, speaking of sticking to tradition, as we did early on, and coming from a guy who needs a center.
All right, I'm going to pivot and take Donovan Mitchell then.
Portland pivot.
There you go. The Portland pivot. I'm taking Donovan Mitchell.
All right. So the irony is that I was actually looking at Mr. Mitchell as a possible pick, and this. See, this
is what happens. This is what happens when you tell the teacher. Actually, we had homework today, didn't we? And now you lost.
So
your
listen.
pick. There you go.
It was one of the choices I was looking at, and the integrity of the draft must be maintained at all times.
I dig it.
I'm going to go with a backup center because I just think he's going to put up numbers. And I think, he only played like 29 games last year, but I think he will play more than that. And he's coming off of my bench. And listen, for all the stuff that we talk about him defensively, defense does not matter in this draft. He's going to put up numbers if he plays. So New Jersey's own Karl Anthony Towns.
XJ, this is where I thought you were going a couple picks before when you took Dame. I thought you were going to go him at center instead.
I figured that's what you were thinking. I just decided to throw center away, but I think it's a solid pick.
There you go.
Karl Anthony Towns, when last healthy, which was the 2022 season, 8th in the NBA in points, rebounds, and assists. He's not going to have as many rebound opportunities next to a guy like Rudy Gobert, and especially with the ascension of Naz Reid. But that is exactly where I wanted to go because he's 28-4, and if you get that 70 games a season, that's pretty good. That'll get you where you need to go. It's a great pick, and that's where I was going to go if you didn't.
It's a good call. All right, one more.
So my next pick, you were talking about how Mensa gets to take in and he gets to pick. This is going to be one of those for me, except I'm actually going to take the player associated with the take, because as much as earlier we were talking about Anthony Edwards, we crown him too fast, and I have a saying for players like this: the idea of Anthony Edwards is better than Anthony Edwards. The idea of this next player is better than this player, but you know what? He's going to put up numbers because he's in a system that. A KFS member who shall remain nameless calls him a screen merchant. But you know what? I'm going to take my bias out of this. So I'm going to draft, and I'll say it because some people can't. I will take Cornfield Campazzo himself, Tyrese Halliburton.
A very good basketball player. Yes, he took Tyrese Halliburton. Apologies to who that offends that I called Tyrese Halliburton a very good basketball player. Like the takes that I love you guys, but my goodness, oh no, you took Tyrese Halliburton. Like, he's really good at basketball.
It's not.
He's okay.
It's this is gonna be my one F-bomb on the show today. So if you're listening in the car, earmuffs for the kids. The discourse on him is fucked, and that's where people like me and Mensa and Chris. I was trying to keep him out of it. He's a member of me, but
he knows. He's our feast family. He's good.
But when you see, like, is he Steve Nash, Chris Paul 2.0, da da da, just like.
Actually, I just did the same thing. Like, wait, what?
Disoriented.
I just called him a very good basketball player. I didn't call him a Hall of Famer.
No, but there are people that are saying that he is Chris Paul 2.0.
Okay.
And
then since I don't acknowledge those people,
but there are credible basketball people. I'm not just talking about Abby's on Twitter. There are credible basketball people who believe that this guy is Chris Paul 2.0. And I'm just like, whatever. But we spent way too much time on Cornfield Campazzo. We can move on.
And congrats on drafting a very good basketball player. I'm just going to make mine really quick. I'm going to take Pascal Siakam. Finished 18th in points, rebounds, and assists. I believe he is the highest remaining player.
I hate to do this. I really hate to do this.
He's like eligible only at center, right?
I'm pretty sure he's a center.
Hold on. I know for a lot of last
reference.
season, he's, oh, wow, this is going to happen to me again. Look at me trying to.
This is electric podcasting, gentlemen.
No, this is what happens.
Actually,
hold on.
This is the game. This is it.
I
love it.
Jakob
forward.
Jakob Poeltl changed my life. There you go.
Wow. Siakam qualifies as a power forward.
Yep. 61% at power forward.
Okay.
You're
right.
It
didn't matter for me
XJ,
anyway. So.
in that he was going to be a center for most of the year. And then they traded for Jakob Poeltl, or how you pronounce his name.
Jake
get
Puddle.
That right.
Jakob.
Jake Puddle. Exactly. Jakob Poeltl. I'll take Siakam with my next pick. Future. Well, if Toronto does what I think they're going to do, future member of the Lakers, future member of the Mavericks, future member of another team, Miami, in the not too distant future. Okay, XJ, you're up. Take your center.
I went back and forth on this so many times. I still have 2 picks left, right?
Yes, you do.
I went back and forth on this so many times. I kept thinking in my head, like, okay, I know who the guy is. And then I was like, wait, what about this guy? And where I happen to be at right now on the what about this guy is not a center. I told you I'm punting on center all the way. It's just zero RB strategy in fantasy football. This player is luckily, again, we are not in a popularity contest because my team would not win by adding this player to the game. This player has a really terrible media photo right now and for the rest of this season.
Holy fuck, I forgot he existed. Oh my God, actually, this is a great pick.
It's kind of crazy that this guy was number 11 in total P.R.A. last year while playing only 64 games. Pretty incredible when you think about it. And he's still at the tail end of his prime. They're going to rely upon him. They lost a few guys from last year's roster. I am taking one Jimmy Butler.
So here's the deal. I went down to the point in the list where I thought everybody ahead had been taken. So that's why I went Siakam. That's why I went Donovan Mitchell. That's why I'm at this point in the draft. Completely forgot Jimmy was like 11th on this list. And if he like plays more games than he did last year and like has an uptick in health, then I think this could be a draft winning pick for you, XJ. So bravo.
I think so too. And I actually noticed that you said Siakam was the highest person on the list. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I wasn't going to correct you on that.
Because you did by then taking the guy higher with your next pick.
I wasn't going to correct you on that until my pick. Man. So yeah, I'm good with that.
I am. Who's the old Jet GM Mensa that like drafted, had 11 picks and all 11 were out the league for years? John Idzik. Who's the guy after him? The guy that they just had before Joe Douglas.
Mike McCagnon, aka
McCagnon. I'm having a Mike McCagnon draft right now. My goodness. I'm drafting guys out of position, ineligible players. I'm skipping
Mike
Jimmy
McCagnon
Butler.
once drafted a pass rusher who was like 28 years old from like a Division III program the year after he drafted a defensive tackle who was like 26 years old from a Division III. Oh my goodness. People don't understand the pain that comes with being a Jets fan. So.
There was that one draft where like 7 all-pro wide receivers were in it and he had 11 picks and neither of them were one of those wide receivers. Yeah, that was our life pre Joe Douglas. There's only one pick that he's really gotten wrong is the quarterback, which I mean, if you talk to some, if you talk to some, he hasn't gotten it wrong in Jets yet. But
so yeah, speaking of picks, this pick here is my sneaky pick of the draft because this basketball player last year was 30th in P.R.A. and played all 82 games. Except he got traded across the country and is now in usage heaven. We saw it firsthand last night. Well, 2 nights from the day this episode airs, when this guy went for, as Shawn eloquently said, a preseason point scoring record, which is like that's peak hang the banner, like peak hang the banner. But this is a guy that I personally believe is, and here comes the take, because I got to be me. I think who everybody thinks the Indiana Pacers are, I think that's actually the Washington Wizards this year. So I'm going to go with, I would go as far as to say that I think that this guy and his backcourt mate are maybe, I think they're a top 3 backcourt in the Eastern Conference. I'm really high on both of these guys. So the one that I'm going to take is the guy who's going to be raising the sea levels in the DMV area with all the pool parties he'll be throwing. One Jordan Poole will be my first pick on the swing. And my last pick to
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I'm going through the Eastern Conference now. So you have Tyus Jones and
Tyus Jones and Jordan Poole. I think they're a top 3 backcourt in the Eastern Conference. Yeah.
Let me go through the backcourts.
Whoa, that just went over my head. I did not realize that's what you said.
Wait. A top 3 backcourt in the Eastern Conference.
You would have them over. So Mitchell and Garland are obviously
number 1
above.
Yeah.
That's actually not because Trey and
it's not crazy, right?
Because everything else is a guard and a forward or a guard and a center. So the more I look at it, because I have no idea what to make of a James Harden, Tyrese Maxey backcourt right now. It's not a crazy take.
Trey and DeJounte
Crazy Sean thing I would put above. I would. I'm saying like
so I don't know.
because the instability in Philly. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I would take Jalen Brunson and either Quentin Grimes or Emmanuel quickly over.
Not fair. But I think in terms of like production and what those guys are going to do, people forget that the Memphis Grizzlies not falling off a cliff whenever Ja Morant had to miss games had a lot to do with Tyus Jones, who I think on the broadcast they said he's like if 4 years in a row has led the NBA in assist to turnover ratio. Like this kid is really, really good, and he's a good defender as well. And he is the defender and the facilitator. He's going to organize that team's offense. And Jordan Poole is going to do what Jordan Poole does and get buckets after bucket after bucket. I think that who everybody thinks Tyrese Halliburton and whoever his backcourt mate is going to be, that's exactly who the Washington Wizards are going to be. I'm not as high on the Pacers as consensus, and I'm a lot higher on the Wizards than consensus. So I think that Jordan Poole is going to come out and earn the ground. He doesn't miss games. He's great. He's a great shooter. We saw it firsthand again, and he's going to have the green light for 82 games. Give me Jordan Poole. My last pick now is going to be, this guy here, because honestly, these drafts were only drafting for draft rights. So for bragging rights. So I'm just going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to pick the 39th player on last year's list. Peak agenda. We're going to go with Rowan Alexander Barrett Jr., baby, to round out this draft because you were not going to listen to an episode of Casual Friday without hearing this man's name. How you doing, Frank from Patreon? How you doing, my brother? That one was for you.
And if you listen to last week's episode of Casual Friday, soon to enter the All-Star conversation,
yes, sir.
Barrett.
Yes, sir. Again, another guy who plays a lot of games. I've stuck to my draft strategy. I'm taking guys who play a lot of games. I'm buying the leap. I think that if he is the foul merchant that we saw a couple games in the preseason, he's due to jump up this list. And again, availability. I'm big on it. And I'm hoping that, hey, if I win, great. If I don't win, I didn't win with the team that I won, and I got RJ Barrett on that team. So to round out this draft for me, RJ Barrett will be my final pick.
Mensa, by the way, I was talking to John about this on Patreon earlier. Plus 5,000 most improved player for RJ Barrett.
50-1 odds. That's
if you're feeling it.
That's really good. Yeah, that's really good.
Those were Julius's odds.
And look at where we are today. You're a married man.
Exactly. Yeah. XJ, who's your center?
Yeah, I'm going to take the best 3-point shooting center of all time, Mike Muscala.
Wait, no, he's not. You're not.
No, he's not.
I know that would be very on brand. Like he's a shooter. Let me get it. But I personally cannot let you. Yeah,
I'm not going. Thank you for saving me from myself,
You're
GMAC.
welcome.
I appreciate that. No, I'm not going Muscala. I am going with the person who I knew would be here because you weren't able to take them, Andrew. I'm taking Anthony Davis, obviously. If Davis plays 45 games, he'll confer value at where I've just picked him. So I'm good with that.
So I have to take a forward, and I'm just gonna go. So Sean can take a forward too. I'm just gonna say some names that I think Sean might take. You can go the Evan Mobley route if you're thinking of a leap. You could go there's actually not a ton of forwards now that I look at it. Oh, we can go to XJ's.
There's one forward there.
Phil, and
there's a pretty good forward there.
Take Mr. Markkinen in Utah. I guess you could go Kevin Durant if you think that he goes to the same doctor my quarterback is going to. And suddenly, like, oh, wow. If you listen to dolphin noises at night, you can suddenly heal all your broken bones. I'll leave it forward to you, Sean, and I'll take Jalen Brunson with my last pick. So that way, similar to Mensa's sentiment of I want to enjoy watching my team. Whenever Jalen Brunson has a good game, my team in this draft has a good game. So Jalen Brunson with my last pick.
You're buying the Fred Katz leap there.
I am, and especially since that pick, that belief in that leap is like organization wide, which means the Knicks might try to manifest that leap. You know,
I think that's a great pick. I love it. A lot of value there. Brunson could easily score more. and get more assists this season. So I love it.
Better shooting around him means if they actually are kicking out of these drives, then, like, oh my gosh, find Quentin Grimes when he's open on the wing or in the corner. That novel concept, Julius and JB. Not that I'm relitigating last night. Okay. Who's the last pick of this draft, Shawn?
Okay. First, I want to note that 3 Knicks were taken in this draft of 28 players. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but you know what? This is a Knicks podcast, so deal.
Yes.
To all the non-Knicks fans that listen to this Knicks podcast, all 17 of you. All right. So I'll just throw out some names that won't be drafted. The aforementioned Kevin Durant, the 8th member of Dipset, John Morant, thanks to your 25-game suspension. The aforementioned
4-6 Mafia.
Stay on that side.
Oh God!
Dude, I'm gonna tell a quick John Morant story. Remember in the bubble when you could, they said you could choose whatever name you wanted, whatever, like on the back of your, like you put like a message. So someone on Instagram said John Morant should have. I'm only gonna use one F-bomb, but the word F word above 12. So it said F12. And he tagged him in it. And you do believe this dude reposted it and was and like gave like a thumbs up, was like, yeah, this is hilarious. And then expeditiously, Grizzlies PR was like, how
about we not? Yeah.
Take that one down.
And then a few hours later, there was a statement that I support the police. That was 2020. We should have known then. Anyway, names. Okay, players that will not be drafted: Kawhi Leonard, LaMelo Ball, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. I'm surprised Lauri Markkanen did not get drafted, but I said I'm going to take a player that he is a league winner, because if he plays and does his thing, I win. And I feel confident because for the first time in his career, his general manager came out and said, hey, he's actually being professional. He's doing the things he's supposed to do.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh,
I am going with number 1 in your programs and in your hearts from the New Orleans Pelicans, Zion Lateef Williamson. Because again, if he plays 65 games, I win.
So, Shawn, you are aware that this is for just this season. It's not all games over the next 2 seasons.
If he plays,
you are right. You're right. The sentiment is right. Yes.
He's after 4 years in the league, he's actually doing what we told him to do.
You know how many times I've come into an NBA season and it's Zion's in the best shape of his life, like
literally
probably the last 4 seasons.
Right? Like I've heard it though. How many photos where it's like, oh, look at him, he looks like a linebacker now.
Zion, 24 games played, 61 games played, 0 games played, 29 games played. We shall see.
Yeah.
The pick I told myself my last pick was going to be like a shot in the dark, a dart throw. It would either been him or would have been Cade.
Cade would have been a good pick.
That would have been a
really good pick.
The other one you didn't say, as far as didn't get taken, Paul George didn't get taken either. Like, I know Kawhi's
Paul George. I was strongly considering Paul George. He's been talking about, revenge tour, Paul George, and I think he's going to try to play the 65. That could be a sleeper for sure. So I'm glad nobody else picked him. I'll say that.
A good sleeper in this draft, I think, number 48th last year, who could take a monster leap is Paolo Banchero. Could take a huge leap this year.
I don't disagree with the sentiment, Mensa. I think we're a year away personally. Like you're right, value-wise, that'd be a good sleeper. I think we're a year away from that type of leap. I think year 3 will be he's averaging 25 a game because the template's there. All of his shot selection this is a guy that eventually is a top. Well, I say 25 a game because that used to be a top 10 guy, and as far as points per game is concerned, but now there's like 7 that average 30, so it's tough to say that. But the template's there. I agree with you in that sense.
Jamal Murray, not taken, not talked about.
Yeah, a lot of guards.
No. I did talk about Jamal Murray. I did. When I was talking about a guy I didn't believe in, that's what I was talking about, was Jamal Murray.
In the most disrespectful fashion possible.
And I will say, this isn't a playoff draft, because his
19th.
That's true. He did finish 19th in points, rebounds, assists last year. I went with Jalen Brunson instead.
Agreed.
I probably should have went with the guy that was Jokic's teammate, but I went with the guy that plays for my basketball team instead.
You did the right thing, Andrew.
Yes. All right, let's read our teams. Mensa, you first.
Okay. So at center, we got Nikola Jokic. At both forward positions, we got Julius Randle and Mikal Bridges. At the guards, we have Anthony Edwards and De'Aaron Fox rounding out my starting five. And then we have the all-agenda bench of Jordan Poole and RJ Barrett.
XJ.
The cool thing about my team is that when people see it on Twitter, they're going to vote for me, even if they don't look at what the what the actual competition is, because I have several superstars. Anthony Davis at the center, Jason Tatum as my forward, LeBron James as my other forward. At guard, another all-time great, Steph Curry. The other guard, Trae Young. On my bench, more Hall of Famers, Damian Lillard and Jimmy Butler.
This is 2017. I'm
destroying you
You're
guys.
Destroying us. And that's with Tatum. Tatum's in Duke.
Tatum at Duke.
Even with Tatum at Duke, it's still
you
a
got
wrap.
Jimmy Butler as an 8th seed, upsetting Boston. You got Trae still in college too.
I got LeBron. I got prime LeBron.
You got prime LeBron, Steph in MVP
Pelicans
mode.
AD.
Mm-hmm.
Pelicans AD. You got Dame when Dame time was being just those four alone would be fun to watch. Okay, my team.
Hold on, Andrew, before you read your list, I just wanted to point out how you have P.A. before Siakam, which is the other Siakam.
Yes. Well, okay.
You only needed
the mechanics. For some reason, it's indenting weird when I put the P period next to Siakam, and it was.
I tried to fix P.E. Siakam.
No,
yes, Percy Siakam is exactly who you were talking about.
His brother. Okay. I should honestly put. There's only one G on Antetokounmpo. That's why I have to, because there's multiple Antetokounmpos. Anyway, my center is Joel Embiid. My forwards are Jaylen Brown and P.A. Siakam. My guards are Donovan Mitchell and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. My bench is Bam Adebayo and Jalen Brunson. Shawn.
At center, I have Domantas Sabonis. Forwards, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo and league winner, draft winner extraordinaire Zion Williamson. In the backcourt, I have Luka Doncic and Devin Booker, and my two bench players are Karl Anthony Towns and Tyrese Halliburton. And the funny thing is, if I feel like if we actually put this to a vote, this will be the team that would win on in the Twitter streets. So of course, I'm going to lose on the. I'm going to lose on its actual numbers because that's just my luck.
I think it's the opposite.
I think XJ's right. I think XJ's team is going to win the Twitter draft.
Yeah, XJ's team would win the Twitter vote, or because Mensa has two Knicks and our base is usually there. Mm-hmm. It would, especially the RJ hive that exists. So
Mensa has Jokic, so he's going to win my vote regardless.
So you have the XJ vote because you have Jokic.
And that's the only vote that matters, guys.
I'm going to finish last because I have nobody that incites. Like, there's no Jaylen Brown hive, There's no. I don't think.
There is in Atlanta.
There is. That's true. That's true. They wanted him to come there. Okay, I think we can wrap up. Thank you guys for having me. I love coming here to do these drafts, and look forward to the next time I'm back on a Casual Friday. Shawn, take us out.
Listen, GMAC, you are welcome to join us anytime. Because you're the boss and you could literally just show up anytime you want. But
I appreciate that I'm invited.
That's not why.
I think I appreciate it's an invite and not a let me on,
Okay. All right. So thanks to everyone for listening to this draft. There is no vote, but you will be able to keep track of it throughout the season. As for us at KFS, we got a lot coming up. We'll have study hall this weekend with myself and is it me and you, Mensa, this week, or me and Chris? I don't remember.
It's Chris because it's a Saturday. Yeah.
It's a Saturday, yes. So me and Chris will be on study hall. Obviously, we have a bunch of content that we've put out on the feed this week. I'm actually behind on a couple of them, so I'm definitely gonna catch up to those. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's I just looked and it was like, oh my god, I got a lot of KFS podcasts to catch up. But although I did listen to the most recent one, it was really good. So if you haven't checked that out, also check out if you miss any of the post game live streams. You can check those out as well, either on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. Make sure you subscribe to Knicks Film School everywhere, YouTube, podcast apps, whatever. If you listen to us on iTunes, please leave a 5-star rating. And if you're going to leave less than 5 stars, do me a favor, just keep it to yourself. Thank you very much. And I think that's all we really got. So listen, for Mensa, for GMAC, for XJ, I'm Shawn W. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Knicks Nation, let's ride.
There you go. I'm riding.